Hi, I am Naseem Ahmed, and you are watching Naseem Ahmed Sociology channel. We are into the seventh week of your introduction to sociology, and today's topic we'll address in this video is that of culture and socialization, and we will also talk about formal and informal ways of socializing. Now, we have discussed earlier in your introductory classes that every society has expectations from its individuals. That is how societies work. And these expectations are then further classified into patterns of human behavior. We call them social structure. And culture is one very important, the main cementing element of social structure is what we call culture. And now that you have understood what are various elements of culture, the constituent part of any culture, now we will understand how this culture is maintained in any society. What are the mechanisms through which this culture is acquired by its individuals? And culture of any society is not simply acquired instantly, but it is something which happens over the life course of an individual. So, during various stages of our life course, we keep on training ourselves about our way of life. We have to learn our ways of life, and this is another assumption about culture. Human culture is largely learned. The way it is symbolic and the way it is shared, it is also learned. And this is something which distinguishes human beings from other animals and other species. That while other animals have their culture being coded into their genes, the fact remains human beings have to learn their culture. And if you see in detail, personality of individuals is just a product of their way of life and their culture. And many studies on twins have proven over the time of periods that two individuals with who are biologically identical might end up having very different personalities should they be growing in two different cultures, should they be speaking two different languages, should they be living in different social and economic situations. They will end up being two very different personalities. Now, it is very interesting to notice that while animals also have some sort of culture, animals have mechanisms of food collecting, and sometimes they live into colonies. If you look at honeybees and their way of communication, their way of living in forming a community, a colony, the fact that they have a leader among them, these are still very advanced kind of social and cultural living. But if ants are living in colonies, if honeybees are communicating with a refined system, uh, it is due to their biological instinct. They don't have to learn all of it. But if human beings are dancing, for example, they have to learn this. If human beings are singing, they have to learn this. It's not instinctual as far as human beings are concerned. So most of our culture is based on our learning and not on our instinct. Our culture is not biologically determined, rather, it is learnt, it is adaptive to the environment, and it is learnt over the life course. Now, what we call socialization, which is the topic of today's discussion, is the lifelong process of acquiring our norms, our values, our beliefs, and becoming conscious about sanctions which are backing all of this stuff. Now, socialization starts right at the beginning of our life. Many things happen to us when we are born in a family, Uh, we start learning our language. We start learning proper ways of feeding ourselves. We start learning the importance of others within our family. We start acquiring a sense of identity within our family. So socialization is something which occurs right at the beginning of our life and it continues till the end. So, socialization, as I have said, is a process of acquiring culture, and the culture is acquired not by any single unique entity or institution, rather, it is acquired by various entities or agents. We call them agents of socialization. Now, these agents of socialization are the competing spheres of our institutional life, which tell us how to properly execute our cultural life. And there are five 5 to 6 major agents of socialization, which are very important in our life. And this pandemic situation of corona virus will lead to some major changes in this chapter of socialization. And I feel it's necessary to include health institution as a major agent of our socialization nowadays. So, one basic and the first agent of socialization is that of family. Another major, another uh, major agent of socialization is our school. Then we have peer group, which is another major agent of socialization. Then similarly, our religion is an agent of socialization, and sometimes mass media plays a greater role in our socialization than any other agent. Similarly, workplace can be an agent of socialization. And now I will discuss them one by one. Even though we will not discuss them in greater detail, you can still read your recommended chapter